In a big, sunny garden, filled with buzzing bees and fluttery butterflies, lived a tiny ladybug named Lulu. Lulu was a very gentle bug. She wasn't loud or boisterous like the grasshoppers who loved to leap and sing. Instead, her favorite thing to do was to sit quietly on a big, soft rose petal and watch the sunrise paint the sky with colors of orange and pink. She loved the warm sun on her little red back and the sweet smell of morning dew. But there was one thing: Lulu was very afraid of: big storms. The whisper of strong winds made her antennae twitch with worry, and the deep rumble of thunder made her want to hide and never come out. She wished she could be brave like Leo the lion beetle, who seemed afraid of nothing. One sunny afternoon, Lulu was dozing on her favorite sunflower, enjoying the warmth. Suddenly, a cool breeze rustled the leaves, and the bright blue sky began to fade to a gloomy gray. Dark, heavy clouds rolled in, covering the sun like a giant blanket. The other insects in the garden noticed it too. The bees stopped buzzing, the butterflies folded their wings, and the ants marched quickly back to their hill. A storm was coming, a big one. The wind started to howl, and a low rumble echoed in the distance. Thunder, Lulu whispered, her tiny body trembling. She quickly scuttled down the sunflower stem and found a large, sturdy leaf to hide under. The wind grew stronger, shaking the flowers and leaves all around her. Then, the rain began to fall. First, it was just a few drops, splat, splat, splat. But soon, it was a downpour, a torrential curtain of water that turned the garden paths into tiny rivers. Lulu huddled under her leaf, her heart beating fast like a drum. The thunder cracked loudly right above her, and a flash of lightning lit up the whole garden for a second. Lulu squeezed her eyes shut, wishing with all her might that the storm would just go away. She felt so small and so scared. As the rain poured and the thunder boomed, Lulu peeked out from under her leafy shelter. The garden looked completely different. Puddles were forming everywhere, shimmering like little lakes in the flashes of lightning. Everything was wet and wild. Then, through the sound of the rain, she heard a tiny, desperate buzz. She squinted, trying to see where the sound was coming from. In the middle of a large puddle, she saw a flash of yellow and black. It was Benny the bee. Benny had been caught in the downpour, and his wings were soaking wet. He was stuck in the water, buzzing weakly and unable to fly. He was trapped and in danger. Lulu's heart sank. She saw how scared Benny looked, struggling to keep his head above the water. A part of her wanted to stay hidden, to wait until the storm was over and everything was safe again. The wind was so strong, and the rain was so cold. It was too scary to go out there. But then she looked at Benny again, at her friend who needed help. She couldn't just sit here and do nothing while he was in trouble. Taking a deep breath, Lulu made a decision. She was scared, yes, but Benny needed her. That was more important than her fear. Gathering all her courage, she crawled out from under her safe leaf and into the pelting rain. The raindrops felt like huge stones hitting her shell, and the wind tried to push her over. But Lulu held on tight. She looked around and saw a fallen leaf floating near the edge of the puddle. An idea sparked in her mind. She pushed the leaf into the water. It bobbed up and down like a little boat. Carefully, Lulu climbed onto her leafy raft and started paddling with her tiny legs, pushing herself toward the middle of the puddle. "Benny, hold on, I'm coming," she called out over the noise of the storm. Benny saw her and buzzed with a little bit of hope. It was a long and difficult journey across the puddle. The wind and rain tried to spin her little boat, but Lulu paddled with all her might, focusing only on reaching her friend. Finally, she reached him. "Grab on, Benny," she shouted. Benny, tired and weak, used his last bit of strength to climb onto the leaf behind Lulu. He was shivering and his wings were droopy. Now for the hard part, getting back to dry land. The leaf was heavier with both of them on it, and paddling was even harder. But Lulu didn't give up. She paddled and pushed, her tiny muscles aching. Slowly, inch by inch, The little leaf boat moved across the water until it finally bumped against the muddy bank. They were safe. Benny stumbled onto the grass, exhausted but safe. "Thank you, Lulu," he buzzed softly. "You saved me." Lulu, tired but proud, simply nodded. Just then, the rain started to soften, and the thunder rumbled farther and farther away. A sliver of sunlight broke through the clouds. As the storm passed, the sun came out, brighter than ever. It made the raindrops on the leaves and petals sparkle like a million tiny diamonds. The garden was fresh and clean, and a beautiful rainbow stretched across the sky. The other insects slowly came out of their hiding spots. They saw Lulu and Benny sitting together on a blade of grass, and they heard the story of what had happened. Soon, all the bugs in the garden were buzzing about Lulu's heroic rescue. Leo the lion beetle came over and said, "Lulu, I heard what you did. I'm not sure I would have been brave enough to go out in that storm." "You are the bravest bug I know." Lulu blushed. She didn't feel like a hero, but I was so scared, she admitted quietly. An old, wise spider who had seen everything from her web smiled gently. "My dear Lulu," she said, "true courage is not about being fearless. True courage is being afraid, but doing what is right anyway. You were afraid, but you helped your friend. That is the bravest thing of all." Lulu looked at Benny, who was now drying his wings in the sun, and then at all her friends cheering for her. For the first time, she understood. She might always be a little scared of storms, but she knew now that she had a big, brave heart, and that was all that mattered. From that day on, Lulu the Ladybug still enjoyed her quiet sunrises, but she walked through the garden with a new confidence, knowing that even the smallest bug can make the biggest difference. Thanks for watching our story today. Remember to be kind, be brave, and don't forget to follow for more adventures.